Alright, so back a few months ago, well, several months ago, I was working on a lot of clay projects. Kind of got sidetracked and started doing some other stuff. I'm still doing some other stuff, but I don't like leaving projects unfinished, and I still have two. This one's going to be a sea turtle. It's going to be a lot bigger. Not sure about the color yet. It's the head. It's going to have a tail. This one's going to be more of a challenge. It's going to be a parrot. Right now, all it has is a filler, one layer of clay for now, and just a perch just to stabilize it to work on. That's not going to be the permanent one because it's going to be a lot bigger and it's going to be a lot chubbier. So that's the next step, is just to get this prepped and and see how she turns out. So what I'm going to do with this to get some more size out of it is give it an extra layer of size. I'm just going to give it one layer of foil. Now, I don't need as much in front. That's good. See, now the whole thing is going to be covered, then it's going to get another layer of clay, and it might get another layer of foil and then another of clay after that. Now, I'm going to do some more of this, but before I do the head, of course, I mean, it's got to start looking like a parrot. Because once I cover it with clay, that's not going to be as easy to do. Now that's kind of narrow, and that kind of goes. Yeah, see, the front part is usually real narrow, like that. Okay? Front is narrow. And this is going to hook a little bit more. This is thinner. Like I said, this is going to be made bigger with the extra layers, but I want to do that in the bottom part of the mouth. That might be an extra piece I put there, or I might just cut it out of that once the layers are done. Let's make the impression for the mouth. Same thing here. Going to start to shape that. You know how a parrot looks. Actually, I'm not sure how a parrot looks because there's so many different types to choose from. Different sizes, different shapes, different colors. I don't know what color this one's going to end up, but I have some ideas. Alright, so these are all new colors that I'm going to experiment with. I haven't tried many of these colors yet. I'm not really sure what color the bird's going to be. I might start with a base of this aqua sky and then add colors to it as we go, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm still going to work on the base, but in the meantime, got to start getting this guy in shape. What you call it, foil on over the rest of it, the head and the neck. So this clay was down here. I'm not going to waste that, so I'm going to use that. Alright, so I kind of know the shape that I want. Kind of know, okay, it's going to go in a little bit, up a little bit, narrower, okay, a bit more like that, longer. This could use, yeah, it doesn't look that good here either. Let's see. So all I'm going to do here is smooth this out a little bit. Like I said, it's going to be covered anyway, but that's fine. Get rid of some of the lines on both sides. Just smooth it out a little bit. That's it. That's starting to look strange. But there'll be more molding in the next step with the final layer of clay. This is just for guideline. Oh yeah, he's gonna look much better than that. Now, sometimes when a parrot is kind of like, I guess, being playful, sometimes you see them lean forward. Now his head's gonna have to be up a little bit more, like that. So let me snap that damn thing off. Okay. So now, if he's leaning forward, then I can still have the feathers. So sometimes even this perch is going to be low on the ground. I don't need all this extra. So he's going to be leaning forward. Feathers can still come down, and even if they touch, sometimes when a bird is on the ground or he's walking or standing on something flat, his feathers are touching the surface. So that's not a big deal. I think I can handle that. So I think that's what I'm going to do for now. Now, when I do that, like I said, since Mr. Parrot is getting a little chunky and heavy, now I'm hoping that this, no matter how much forward I lean it, I'm going to have to drill into this and put this. This is just a cable I use for stability. Now, even if I move him forward, I'm going to have to use something really strong that anchors this, but doesn't really show, because this is all going to be part of the feather. You're not going to see this. This is going to be one of the long feathers coming down, and like I said, it'll look better when it's all covered. But that's the solution for now. Stick his big ass 10 inches up in the air. Who's going to do that? So again, foil, crumble it a little bit, and around the part that didn't have any before. That includes the head, right? And shut up, you can still breathe. Just chill. And head, and then everything gets covered. The beak. While we're doing that, we still want to keep that shape. The end of the beak right there. Oh yeah. All right, so when this is done, we'll start adding another layer of clay and see if that's going to be the final layer or not. Now this clay's all gray. But that doesn't matter, because, like I said, by the time it's painted and you do the other layers, I know I have a hunk of gray clay in here somewhere. Gotta find it. So the second layer on here after the foil is going to be in brown, but that doesn't matter that much. I said the main thing I gotta see if that's going to be the final layer, because if it ain't, it's getting heavy. So it might be a little chubbier than I thought. Fat ass. Alright. When we get back, I'm going to put on the first layer of brown clay. See how that goes. Okay. Now, before I add the next layer of clay, which will be the brown stuff, something here I want to fix before I go too much further. It seemed like his nose, his beak, is a little bit too far up in the air. So I just want to squish that down a little bit. A bit more. Just a little bit. That's going to be up. Now the beak. Kind of hard to see with the reflection, but once this is covered, with the next layer, then I believe this is even going to hook down even more. Maybe even more. Set up there. Maybe a little better. But I think it'll look a lot better with the next layer. Let's do that. A little bit more. That's a little better. And this part's going to be the mouth. There'll be something cut right here for the opening of the mouth. About here to there. But like I said, it'll look better when it has the next layer of clay. Now, that part is pretty easy. I'm going to just take a piece and roll it. Make it a little bit long. Kind of like that. And then it's just a matter of flattening it. That's it. Don't want it too thin. So if it's not too thin, then maybe this can be the final layer. But we'll see about that. And that's it. It's going to go on like that. Easy. Now he's behaving. He knows he doesn't want to go sailing through the window head first. And that's it. So I'm going to make up a bunch more of these and I'll be back. Alright, so I know the beak is going to need some more work. Now the wing, I want to work on that, but I know that once I start working on the wing, anytime I have to handle it to do anything else, it's just going to mess up that process. You know, so if I was going to do all of that now where I hollow some of that out, needed some definition in there. So it'll be something like that. I think it's going to be a little bit more. There's going to be some more here. But I don't want to do that now when it's just going to, me handling it is going to mess that up. So that can be done at any time. Now, as far as this, I still think from here to here is a little bit too wide. Gently squeeze that in. See, I already like that a little bit better. Because from where the chest is, it should come right up to the beak. There shouldn't be all that extra. I'm going to squeeze that in even a little bit more. I think that's better. Of course, the beak has to be, it's not that wide, but it's thick. So definitely missing something. So what we do is put a little bit on the bottom, a little bit less, and put a little bit there. It's all going to be smoothed out, and of course some on the top. Once that's done, you can start to reshape it. A bit more on the top, a little bump there, that should be more smooth also. So take care of that. Right there. And we're going to need some more on the front. Some more right there. I'm just going to get even more. In the shape, it'll look better once that the piece is there. Of course, it's pointier, not as long, pointy. And once I get all done, once I start smoothing everything and it looks like one beak, it's going to look better. Because the smoothing, it gets rid of all the lines. Now, there's some places where I'm going to want the lines in that definition, but the beak is going to be smooth. And once, like I said, once we get the shape down, that'll be good. Then we'll know we'll need a piece about like that. That's gonna, let's see, It's gonna go something like that. Not exactly like that. This bottom part needs to be more curved. Yeah, a little bit more curve than that. Beak. And that'll all be smooth. Yeah, that'll look better. But the front of the beak is usually comes to a little bit of a point. Okay, I think that's a little better. And then I'm gonna work on the I'm gonna fill the rest of this in, like I said before. And when I come back, I'm gonna finish up the beak, both sides, and then get an idea of exactly what I want to do, where the eyes are gonna go, and then holes for the nose. And make sure that's pointed, because it's gonna be leaning a little bit. You see that bird's head is totally smooth. Don't really want any lumps there. It's gonna be smooth. That's gonna be smoothed out, like from here all the way to the head, which I think is gonna be the red eclectus that I showed before. This is all gonna be red. So all of this I want smooth. Down here where the wings are, I might want some definition. So I think this whole beak, you have to draw a line where the where the beak and the mouth meet, like that. And then the beak will be black, and we'll see what the rest is. I'm going to get some more pieces of clay ready, so when I come back I can finish shaping the beak and fill in the rest. So I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to have to mount it, so I can work on it without having to handle it and make it stable. Alright, so I'm just gonna finish doing the second hollow. And which side is gonna go where? That's better. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of Elmer's super glue, just enough to let it hold here, but it won't hold on for dear life, because I'm hoping I'll be able to pop this out later and use it in the new base. So I want to use some, but hopefully it doesn't what is this, empty? Crap. Okay, so as we were pleasantly saying, we're just gonna put a little bit of glue here because, again, Elmer super glue. Glue because it'll hold, but like I said, it shouldn't exactly stop me from removing it if I have to, which I can use it again. Now, while that's hardening a little bit, few spaces here. Seems like I've worked on the other side more than this side. So, got to smooth this baby out. Some of it needs extra clay, some of it just needs to be smoothed. Sometimes you can use a roller, sometimes it's just better. No, I need another piece under there because the bottom part of the jaw is almost like a scoop. See, it's more like a scoop there. And then here, like I said, is going to be the wings, which are going to come kind of all the way around, and then they'll come down. And okay, that's giving me some hold, right? That's good. Now, depending on how I'm going to choose to how far I want to lean them, it doesn't have to be that much. See, I think that's maybe a good lean, maybe like that. Let me flatten that, because that's going to get, see, that's pretty stable. And eventually he's going to be right up against the perch. There. Okay. And for the drill, okay, that didn't mess you up too much. Now for the drill, I took out the drill bit. Empty spot, Phillips. So I'm going to drill. Drilled in part of the way. Now he's going to come in, he's going to do his lean, which might be about right there. Then he's going to take that, wrap it around, loop it out, and drill it the rest of the way. Just enough to hold it. Because right now he's not even touching. Needs to be a little bit closer. So, but that's the idea. So now when this is stabilized, I can work on the rest of it without having to handle it that much. And I'm going to do the same holes and hopefully the same perch. The same way I drew the holes here and here, I'm going to do them here, but I don't need to do the drilling of the holes on the new thing here. Why? Because it's not a woodworking project. You want to see a woodworking project? You do it. Get out of here. I'm not chopping no damn wood. Okay, so now that I have this stabilized in the way I want, I'm just going to start filling in some of the pieces that look a little bit thin. It's going to need some more. And then we'll smooth that out later. And yeah, so he needs a little piece right there. Again, we need the scoop on that side like we did the other side. Let's put a little more right there. And then we're going to put that right there too. And then smooth it out. Everything up top here has to be smoothed out. Now, and also, I noticed that if you look at him straight on, his head is down a little bit, and that's fine. This held pretty good with that Elmer's glue. So, he may not be leaning as much, but I kind of like the lean. Yeah, see, maybe more like that. But either way, straight on, he's kind of looking at you straight on. But I want his head to tilt a little bit, maybe be turned a little bit. Now, I'm going to have to try to do that. And, of course, not snap his head off. Because, again, if that happens, he's going straight through the window. Just turn a little bit. Oops. Please don't snap it. Okay. And tilt. Oh, fuck. Oops. See, now from the front, I kind of like the way that looks better. So So I'll probably go with that. Okay, doesn't seem like that's going anywhere. So the part of this that's going to be red, like I said, I want all smooth. And where the wings are, that's fine. Wings are going to have a little bit of texture and separation, but everything under here is going to be smooth. And just like I started on the other side, I'm going to start off the beginnings of this side of the wing just by folding this over a little bit like that. And like I said, I think that's going to start about right there. Let's see, but it's actually going to curve a little bit like that. And there. And these other sections, of course, are going to need more, because the wing pretty much is going to go all the way down to that. It's actually going to curve down here a little bit, so the wing is going to be almost all the way to the bottom of the base. Like I said, it's going to be separated a little bit. And we're going to do that again. Fold the edge like so. See, that's just going to be smoothed out. That's going to look like one piece. Now, once it looks like one piece of the wing, then like I said, if it has some texture after that, that's okay. But that's got to look like one piece, especially around there. It's really got to be smoothed out. And then just going to keep adding to the middle of that around right there. We're going to smooth that out. And that's going to look a lot better once we do that and add some definition to the to the wing. Now the red is usually going to go about something like that, and then in here again, that's going to be separated. See, I did that so I wouldn't have to handle it. That's why I mounted it, because this was separated. Then as I handle it, it gets smashed in. But it's going to be the same as this. And so around here, then under here you can add any color you want from here to down here. That's going to be stuff here, so you're not going to be able to see under there, but you're going to see the sides. That's why that has to be all wing. And this is going to be covered too. This will be gone. Then you can do anything you want with the colors here. The wings are usually a little bit of a darker red, so I'm going to work on what color I'm going to use for that. And just to get it smooth. So I'm going to make some more pieces. And when I come back, I'm going to finish this wing. I'm going to finish the back. And the back where the wing separates is going to have a little separation in the middle. So next step, make some more clay pieces, cover everything, and finish this wing. So that's three things: cover everything, finish both wings. I'm gonna have the pieces ready so it won't take that long, and then finalize the smoothing out of everything that needs to be smooth and what needs to be a little bit lumpy. And we'll be back. So I'll just continue to smooth everything out, especially on the top part. Now, I need to put the of course fill in the back with clay for the back feathers. Now, before I do that, now this is going to be the female. The female part has feathers that are coming out that are kind of spread apart a little bit. Those are going to hang down before the other feathers come on, so I need to do those first, and needs to have stability. And the clay would be really thick if I tried to do it with just clay. So all I did was take some clay and use a strip of thin cardboard, and just gonna trim that. Like so. Press it down, shape it, and we said it's gonna be a little blunted there. That's gonna be connected. So I'm gonna make 4 of those that are gonna go on the bottom, that are gonna come out, that are gonna be together. And now before I attach those, I'm also gonna need a piece that shapes something like let's see, what's the exact shape I need here? Something like that. It's gonna have to curve, curve, curve. Get that to curve, curve it, and try to point it. It's going to be something like that. That's what I'm going to need there, because as I attach these, then I'm going to attach this, you know, the part of the back of the wing that kind of overlaps. So I'm going to do I need 2 of these and 4 of these. I'll be back. Okay, so I made 4 of these bottom feathers. Now I'm gonna have the 2 in the middle hang down a little bit more. I'm gonna fan them out, not a lot. I've seen different ways that the female feathers kind of fan out, and now a little bit below. Now again, it's okay that it's going to be touching. I want to make sure that's right in the middle. Yeah, so that's going to curve in a little bit. I kind of want it to attach with that, and it's also going to be held together by the other part. Now this kind of experimenting with, I kind of want to flatten this part a little bit more. Let's get that nice and flat. And then now in the middle of the wing, there's always a little bit of you know, that separation between the back feathers, kind of like that. So I want to do that, and then do the other parts. I mean, this is all going to be blended together, but there's still that indentation probably that starts around here with the feather, and toward the bottom, those feathers always overlap a little bit like that. But like I said, this, it'll just look better when it's all looks like one piece. I'm gonna blend that also, but it's also gonna stay that crease there is gonna stay. Fill all the rest of this in, like I said, so that it looks like just one piece. Put some more there, and then do this side, do this wing. Now on this side, of course, this is going to need some work. Now, because you see where this part that part of the wing where it cuts over this. This is supposed to be all part of that same thing. All part of the same wing, so that's gonna have to loop around and end up here. So I'm gonna have to add some clay there and maybe something to stabilize that, because this all needs to be covered. That's all wing. So I'm gonna do that next. Now, once I define where that wing is gonna follow, right around there, carve just a little bit there, make that more defined. Then I know that's gonna go there. Now, I think it needs a little bit more wing on this side to cover this, but I might leave it like that because this bottom part, which I'm not gonna do a lot of work on, is still gonna show. It's just the part below the feet. So, and the same thing in the front. Don't need to see that space, so I'm probably gonna have something here, bushes or shrubs or something to cover the front of that, and also the part that I'm not gonna do that much work on. That's part of the bottom here, and yeah, so I'll just cover that. I won't cover the back. These you won't see any wires there, but yeah, that wing needs work, so that's what I'm gonna do. Next is cover the rest of this. See how that wing looks. Then I know I have to do the same thing on this side. So I'm gonna fill the rest of this in, but first, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be keeping that, but for now I'm gonna bend it out of the way. And just flatten out some pieces here. Let it go under there, under. We're gonna smooth all that out. Another small piece for there. Okay. Now, I'm already gonna start to put this part together. That's gonna be part of the wing that's going to continue here. So I'm going to make some indentations there all the way around. We're going to smooth that out. That's all going to be smooth. Now I need to come right about there. Do a little bit of that, and then maybe something along there. I could even see that's already thin there, so it definitely gonna need some more there, which will go right about there. And then we're just gonna smooth it. Right there, we're going to smooth all of that. It's going to look more like one piece there once that's smooth, and probably a little bit more on the bottom there. I think so. I mean, as you're doing it, you're going to make the adjustments that you need to. And then once you put the pieces on, like I said, this clay is so flexible. You can make it into almost any shape. I don't want to flatten that, but I kind of want that to be more like that. Maybe that can go up a little bit. thick. I'm gonna flatten that out too. I think the shoulder is about right. Alright, so when I come back, we're gonna smooth all of this out. And then kind of need to, yeah, this too is gonna be smoothed out. That looks better. So we'll do that, then we'll smooth out this, smooth out this. That all has to be smooth. So that's the next step. The other side, that's a different story. That still has to be done. So we're gonna work here, smooth this, gonna smooth everything that's on this half. Alright, so to get this smooth, I'm just going to use my thumb for this. The roller, I don't think is going to work for this because it's not even enough. And again, having some texture to the part of it is okay. This doesn't have to be 100% smooth, but some of the lumps definitely have to go. That's squeezed in. Let's squeeze that in. Let's smooth that. Okay, now I need this to look more like, again, just one piece of the wing going in there. Again, it's going to have a little bit of texture, and that's okay. It's not totally smooth. It's going to have some lines in here that kind of looks like feathers eventually. And as far as the, I think this needs to be a little bit higher. So let me change that angle of that a little bit. That curves up a little bit more. And some of that may be hard to get to. But I want that to show a little bit more definition and the angle. Up, 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 up. Okay, that's good. Gotta get that part in there. Okay, up. Further up. Curve that up a little bit more. This is all going to be painted in here, so that's fine. Down a little bit. And that's all going to be pressed in a little bit. I think that's a little better. That's good. And again, around there, there's going to be that indentation. Then we're going to flatten it. So you're still going to see it, but I'm going to use something a little sharper to dig in there and then close it in, and that'll look better. And this, I kind of want to smooth that out too. And then I do that, then I can use the finger a little bit. Okay. So this part of the body, I think I'm okay with. Maybe a few more touches. Okay, that. This needs to go up a little bit more. Up. Now, that's good. Looks good. That's good. The indentation there. Now, when I do this side, I got to do the wing. Back feathers are done, so I got to do the wing. Fill all of this in. Now, it's going to be pretty much what I did on the other side. So, I'm going to do this part. It's going to be faster because This side's going to be nonverbal because it's going to be a repeat of the other side. So I'm just going to work on that with no dialogue. And then when that's done, we'll work on both sides of the head. All right, so where the beak meets the feathers is this part back here. The feathers is always a little bit raised up, and the beak is sort of tucked in there. So I need something like, let's see, not too thick. It's that green line. There we go. All right, so long as this part here is straight and not too thick, otherwise I'm going to use that side. And since he's tilted, we're looking at about it's going to be pretty straight too. And I can shape it when I need to. Then I would do the same thing on the other side. So all I'm gonna do here is make sure that's all smooth. So that's gotta go. Kind of look like he's wearing a bonnet, but that'll be fixed. And once I have these two different colors, the black and the red, that'll look better. But I'm still thinking that needs to be more forward. We'll see. And for the mouth, now this is going to be a little bit jagged because that's fine. A parrot's mouth is not really straight. I can make that even more jagged. Just twist it a little bit. And then close it a little bit. That looks more than that. Not like that for now, but for this. Should look a little bit thicker. That should come down. Right here. Now, the eyes, I just needed anything that was round and hollow that I could press in here, not too deep, but enough. And I need to make that around the edges a little bit bigger. No, that's okay. Now I'm just gonna round those edges off a little bit, press it in a little bit, press it and round it. Now, I'm going to have to do that again because I'm still going to need that space in there. The hole's got to be bigger. Okay. See, that's better. Now, this is going to be the first thing that I'm going to have to paint because the eyes are going to be, you're going to see the outside of the eyes, you're going to see white. And then in the middle, you're going to see mostly brown or black. then once this is painted, then I'm gonna close that in to where you have to press that in a little bit more, because I want the eyes to be set but a little bit rounded. And then once I paint this, the two colors, then I'll just close it in to make the shapes. The eyes aren't going to be that big. These edges are going to cover a lot of that. But let me again make that bigger. That stays there. That's good. That's all right. And smooth anything out. And I'll be back with the color, the brown and the white. All right, so I'm not even going to use the brush for this. Just a Q-tip, and I'm gonna have white and real brown. See how that works. So with the white, like I said, I'm not going to need much. It's okay if it's textured a little bit. It kind of look more natural than just being flat. And later on, I'll be doing, some of the other side. Hey babe, nothing's perfect. And that's all out there is going to be painted red. So that little mistake there is not a big deal. White. A little bit more coverage on that. Okay, so I think that's about all you're going to see as far as the white. I gotta let that dry and then put on the brown. Let me flatten that a little bit. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna put a little bit of clay on the end of this Q-tip, just to make it more precise, and I'm gonna try to fill in this eye here with the brown. I don't think I really need to pour this. I'm just gonna use what's in the cap. I hope this works. Hope this brown isn't too light, but let's find out. Easy, easy. 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 That's all right. A little bit more on the bottom. Now, if it turns out most of the white is covered, I'm going to be okay with that. It doesn't always show white when you see pictures of them, but I'm going to see. Now, I could start to close this in to see how that's going to look. Once it's closed in and you see just a little bit of white and the brown. But if I do that, when it's time to paint around the edges, the red, the closer I am to this part in there. Now, if I'm doing the red like this and I get red inside the eye once it's dry, I mean, look, I'm assed out. There's not much to do after that. It's very difficult to fix. So I think it's easier if I did the red on the outside before I close that. I'm gonna see when it's gonna work. I'm gonna sample it. I think I'm gonna go with bright, classic bright red, and see how that looks. Need a pretty flat, wide brush just to be more precise. Now, because of this type of clay, it's definitely gonna need more than one coat. first coat is pretty much just going to get you ready for the next one to stick to it a little bit better. So every part of here that's actually going to be red, which would be about up to there, down the back a little bit, I want to just do those parts. I'll be right back. Yeah, so we're just going to cover this as much as we can, and eventually you're not going to see that brown underneath. Just the bright red. Just take some patience though. Thinking if you got a lot more expensive paint, I mean, it might cover better. And as far as this, you just got to be careful. Gotta have a steady, accurate hand. Okay, don't touch the eye, but get the white. Steady and accurate. Let's do a little bit more there. Alright, easy. Easy. Smooth that out a little bit. If it ends up having a little ring there, I think that's okay, but the rest of that got to be smoothed. And then as this dries, it probably look even lighter than this, and the coats after that will end up looking a lot darker. And of course, around the front here, you also have to be steady. Don't want to get it on the beak either. Now, if it gets on the beak, it's no big deal because the beak is going to be black. And the black will easily cover the red, if that happens. I'm going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. See, these borders just got to be steady. First coat just isn't going to look that smooth. But for now, that's good. Let me do a little bit on the top here. You can't avoid around the eyes forever. It's coming to get you. Steady. Top part, steady. Now, I think also under here is also going to be all red, even the top part of the wings. Then after that, it goes into some other interesting colors as we get to that point. Now, this first part that's already dry, you see the red will get deeper each time I do it. And then once I seal it with the stuff that I use, that gives it a little bit of a shine. That'll bring out the color also. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more, let this dry, and put on the second coat just in this section to see how that looks. Alright, so first coat is dry, but not exactly getting the coverage I want, so I'm definitely going to have to do a little bit more. Easy. Again, you got to be careful. some of it may start to rub off. Gotta get that. Easy. Now, a lot of this will smooth out as it dries, but a little bit more there. So when this one dries, we see how that looks. Okay, that looks better. There's a few spots where it's really not holding the color. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I'm gonna have to take care of that. And in the meantime, I'm gonna start going with some basic black for the beak. Again, on the borders around here, I got to be straight and accurate. Let's keep that straight. A little bit better. Easy. Almost like you can't think about it too much, or you're gonna just go over the line. It's not the end of the world if you go over and some black gets into here, but that's gonna be a pain. So the black may not need an extra coat, but I'm gonna see. Let's do a little bit there too. And get that red out of there. There we go. All right, now when I come back, I'm gonna try to close in around the eyes to close that, make it look more like a real eye, and then see what I'm gonna do about these parts that won't hold the paint. And then we'll work on some other color for the wings, are a little bit of a darker red. I'm gonna see what I have available for that to start here. And the front here is a bunch of various colors. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that. Maybe something like the lavender. Lavender, ooh, how fancy. But I'm not sure about that. What I'm gonna do here, but the wings up here and gonna be kind of blended different colors. There's a lot of different ways I can go with that, but we'll see. Okay, so for the wings, I'm going with flamenco red. It's really just like a kind of like a burgundy. Can't give them all these strange names. But before I do that, I'm gonna cut just a few lines in the wing. Just a little. That's good. And we'll see how that looks, how it contrasts with the red. If not, I'll have to cover it with maybe different color. I don't want it to be too close to what the red is. I won't really be able to tell until it dries. It looks kind of bright now, but it will be darker. We'll have some blue around the edges. A little bit too close, maybe. We'll see. Let me give it a little bit of time, see how it looks. Alright, so that is dried a little bit. This red is definitely a little bit darker, which is what I want. Not it to be too close, but it just doesn't have to be that different. And it's going to show me more of a difference once it's sealed. I'm not sure why this paint. And there's going to be some blue back here also. That'll be blue. Be some blue around the edges. Feathers down there will be a little bit of a different color. Okay, this section here needs lines. Now, sometimes when you even after you paint it, you can still put knife lines in it. Let me give that another coat just to be sure. Yeah, definitely a contrast. That's good. See how well that covers. And I'm going to do some knife lines in the other side and do the same thing there. Alright, so as you said, I'm going to cover everything in red since that's what I have out right now. And then when I put the other colors on top of it, it's just going to make it stick better. So everything will have one thin layer of red, except those down, or maybe those down there too, we'll see. See, I don't know why this paint covers better. I mean, it's a little bit of a different color, but that's okay. Maybe no bird has a perfect color anyway. And let's do the inside there. Now here, it's going to be some purple in the middle. All in here is going to be mostly blue. Okay, I'm not sure if the beginning of the last section got cut off, but what I'm doing here is around the edges are going to be this turquoise. Even though it says turquoise, it kind of looks like blue. And there in the middle, we're going to have a little bit of velvet crush, which is just like lavender. So all I did here was cover the outside of the wings and all the middle out there, cover all that. That overlaps a little bit, that's good. Let's do a little bit right there. And a little more right there. You can touch that up with red. And also the back section around the nape has some three different colors so far. And in here, There would be the lavender. Let me put another coat there, a little bit more there. That side's still got to be done. Although a lot of it's done. Alright, so we're going to let the blue dry. Then I'm going to do the purple in there. See, actually, under there is supposed to be red also. I'm going to do that once I lift it. Take care of the part under there that you can't see right now. At least most of it. Because like I said, when I'm done, you're not going to see a lot of the outside. Anyway, when I come back, I'm going to do the purple. I'm going to also see if I can fill in this, some of these sections that just won't seem to fill in with the bright red. Covered it with a little bit of the other red, the darker red. Now I'm going to go back with the bright and see if that'll hold like that. So we'll see. Anyway, so I'm thinking this part may not hold the paint either because it's too slick or maybe the brush is too stiff. I'm gonna try something softer, like a Q-tip. Especially in the front here. I'm not sure why none of that's holding up. Cover it a little bit better. But I'm going to let this dry and then try the brush again. Most of this is done. This should be painted later. When I come back here, so I'm going to do the lavender. See if I can cover this up and close the eye. Alright, so what I'm gonna do here is see what this lavender looks like. I've seen a lot of this type of birds have this little bit of this color. And if I don't like it, I can always change it. So we'll see how that looks when it dries. Now, when I try to, I'm going to try to fill that in, but first, now, when I try to press this down to close that eye a little bit, I know that my oily fingers are going to just rub off that paint, and that's going to piss me off. Oil. It reminds me I got to fry some chicken tonight. Use cornstarch instead of flour. Single dip, double fry. Now, I need you to cooperate here. And just let me press it in there. Easy. Easy. It's gotta be round. Come on. Get in there, baby. Come on. Now with this, what I think I can do, I kind of like the size of the eyes. I can try to be careful and just add some more brown around the edges. Let's see how that looks. Alright, let's see if the brown wants to cooperate. Gotta try to keep that. Easy. Easy. Accurate, easy. I kind of like that a little bit better. Kind of wish the brown was a little bit darker, though. I might have to see if there's something that's darker. There's this brown that's really dark, because I don't mind the white around the edges, but I feel like even inside that brown should be something a little darker. We'll see. Now, while the eye dries, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna have any luck with this red. This part that looks like it kept trying to show through the brown. It's a little bit better. Just got a little bit of wrinkling around the eyes I just want to take care of. Boy, there's some white there too. Let's see if I can get that. Easy. Okay. I think I can live with that. Alright, so I'm gonna try the darker part, but that seems like that might be okay. Okay. This side's almost finished. Now I'm gonna do that last part of the eye and see how that looks when I darken it. Alright, so for the middle of the eye, I'm going to try this burnt umber. It's like the darkest brown I've seen around. I'm just going to start with just a little circle and see if I need to do more. And that kind of does look more natural, though. Two different colors. Now, even after I do that, the eyes still need to be. I have to risk it and try to roll this down a little bit. Gotta get that closer in there. A little bit on the top. That might be better. Okay, so we did that. And now, I said that most of the stuff down here was going to be, also red, like up here, but I'm going to use what they call flamingo coral. I'm going to do that on the bottom. Let me shake that again. See how that looks. Now, like I said, a lot of this bottom part here is going to be covered, but I still want it painted. Don't want to leave any bare clay. Now, some of the front might still be red, but all under there is going to be that orange color. And I'm not going to worry about coverage here as much. No, but this orange is also going to be the color of the back feathers here. You see, we're not worried about the base getting messed up. We're not using that. Okay, all of that, and even the tip of this one here. Same thing here. And Side. We'll just smooth that out. Now, this I think is okay. Might touch up the red a little bit there, maybe. Dig the way the lavender looks, I can roll with that. And just got to do the eye, the mouth, paint the beak on this side, and that might be it. We'll see. Okay, so now that everything should be dry, I'm gonna seal it. I use this stuff. Some people use it as glue. I don't really like to use it as that. It's just to seal after I put on paint. I don't think it's strong enough for glue anyway, but this gets a nice thick coat over everything. That looks white now, but it's gonna dry clear. Oops. Oh yeah, lay it on nice and thick. Even down there, even though that part on the back is going to be covered down here, I want to seal it anyway. And make sure I don't leave any spots. I mean, look, it's not going to be perfect, right? I mean, I think to do something like this with your hands, I think you need three basic things, okay? You need the skill, you need the tools, and you need some creativity, okay? Now, I definitely don't have the tools. I use whatever I can. I don't have the skill or the experience to make something like this look maybe more realistic. And all I really have is some creativity, and somehow that guides me to get something at least close to what I want it to look like in my imagination, and that's it. Now, if you want to see a bird that's, or any kind of sculpture that's more realistic, you're not gonna get it here. Go buy it off of the internet. And some more. And like I said, this should have a very nice clear coat. Oops. Do not want to leave anything uncovered. Get all the way in there too. Got to get the inside. Gotta get the feet. Now, everything here, of course, has to dry. You can already see a little bit of shine to it, but that's, hoping looks a little bit better than that. But now, once it, we'll come and take a look once it dries. But now the other part of the project would just be building the new base, the new perch, and some stuff to surround the bottom. But, you know, that's more like an arts and crafts project. Look, if you want to see arts and crafts, go to the local public library and take a Kittyland arts and crafts course, okay? You're not going to get it here.